Hi, I'm Dr. Larry Malerba, and welcome back to All Things Homeopathy. Before a remedy can be chosen, it's necessary to learn how to take a case, or in other words, how to conduct a homeopathic interview. But before a case is taken, it's important to understand the homeopathic classification of symptoms. Defining the various types of symptoms will help in case taking and will also allow us to discuss the relative value of symptoms when it comes to case analysis, all topics that will be covered in future episodes. Broadly speaking, we can divide all symptoms into two categories, generals and particulars. A general is any symptom that applies to the person as a whole, as in, I am sad, I crave sugar, or I feel warm. A particular is a more localized symptom that refers to a specific part or parts of a person, as in, my stomach hurts, my eyes are burning, or my feet are cold. Generals are about me as a whole, particulars are about a part or parts of me. I'll be talking about generals in this episode and particulars in the next. We can further subdivide generals into two main categories, mental symptoms and physical generals. Mentals include all symptoms and characteristics relating to thought and emotion. This includes emotions like anger, sadness, and anxiety, and related states like depression, crying, and excitement. Mentals also refer to symptoms relating to cognitive function, like confusion, forgetfulness, and slow comprehension. Other generals include what might be considered personality traits, such as extroversion, industriousness, laziness, and egotism. Three particularly important types of mental generals are fears, dreams, and delusions. They're important because they tend to reveal a lot about a person. One's fears, for example, often lie at the core of one's being and can explain why a person exhibits certain behaviors or makes certain choices in life. In homeopathic usage, fear is a broad category that can include anything from mild anxieties to stronger fears. It's not just limited to full-blown phobias. Fears can be concrete, as in fear of bees or heights, or more abstract, as in the fear that something bad will happen to a loved one. Dreams can be useful for a variety of reasons, both diagnostically and prognostically. Big dreams, recurrent dreams, or themes that run throughout dreams can be particularly valuable. Delusions in homeopathic usage are different from the psychiatric meaning of the term. In psychiatry, a fixed false belief, such as the delusion that the police are spying on me through my TV, is indicative of certain types of mental illness. In homeopathy, delusions is a much broader category, one that includes psychiatric delusions, but also more subtle types of false beliefs, such as the belief that I am doomed to failure and will never succeed, or the belief that I'm always alone in life, without friends, or that other people are not trustworthy and I cannot depend on them. In this sense, almost everyone carries within themselves some false belief that prevents them from living a full, healthy, and balanced life. Physical generals are physical characteristics that apply to the person as a whole. They include climate, weather, and temperature patterns and sensitivities like I tend to be warm-blooded, or I can't tolerate cold, windy weather, or I always feel worse before a rainstorm. Note that this is different from saying, the site of my old ankle injury hurts before a rainstorm. This refers specifically to my ankle and not generally to me as a whole. Clues relating to one's energy level are physical generals, such as I'm tired in the morning when I wake up, or I need to nap between 2 and 4 p.m., or I come alive at night and don't like to go to bed before 2 a.m. Sleep symptoms are also physical generals because they refer to me as a whole. I sleep on my back, or I can't sleep between 1 and 3 a.m., or I feel sleepy after dinner. Perspiration is another physical general. I sweat easily, or I sweat on falling asleep, or I rarely perspire, even in the hot weather. Again, this is different from saying, my feet tend to be sweaty, which is more of a particular symptom. Food and drink patterns and preferences are also physical generals, because if you think about it, we express those preferences by saying, I tend to be thirsty, I hate onions, or I love pickles, or I only drink warm drinks. As with fears versus phobias, don't get hung up on absolutes. It's sufficient for a person to say, I like oranges. It doesn't have to rise to the level of a craving to be relevant. So food preferences, desires, and cravings, food dislikes and aversions, degree of thirst and lack of thirst, and drink preferences and aversions are all considered physical general clues. Let's try an example illustrating the generals that can manifest during an acute illness. A little girl has an ear infection. Her mental state is one of woe is me. She cries easily and seeks the comfort of her mother. She wants her mother to carry her around wherever she goes. Her level of thirst is diminished. In fact, she's barely drinking at all. The only thing she'll eat is vanilla pudding. She is acting quite warm-blooded. She throws off the blankets and keeps taking off her socks. She seems to feel better in fresh air. In spite of being sick, she wants to go outside. Now let's translate this description into a list of generals. She is sad, weepy, desires consolation, and desires to be carried. She's thirstless, desires pudding, is warm-blooded, and desires to be outside in the open air. Not a single one of these symptoms specifically refers to the status of her infected ear, and yet they speak volumes about the state of this little girl. In fact, they cry out for a specific homeopathic remedy, which if administered will likely cure her ear infection in rapid fashion. If you'd like to stop the video now and try to figure out what that remedy is, I'll reveal the name of the remedy at the end of this episode. So to recap, the main categories of generals are mental and emotional symptoms, including fears, delusions, and dreams, climate, weather, and temperature characteristics, energy level clues, sleep patterns, perspiration tendencies, and food and drink likes and dislikes. Well, that's generals. Next time, I'll explain particulars. Thanks very much for watching, and please be sure to subscribe to the ATH YouTube channel. That way you won't miss the next episode of All Things Homeopathy. Oh, and one more thing. The remedy that the little girl needed is called pulsatilla. See you next time.